are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. As you can tell here on the YouTube channel, feel free to call me Sully. I'm going to do something on today's podcast that I don't normally like to do. This is something I'm going to do for this segment that is, it's not in my wheelhouse. It's not how I like to be thought of. It's not something I like to make a habit. But every once in a while, you have to do it. I'm going to complain about something. I'm going to complain about something on my smartphone. Actually, about my smartphone. I'm not complaining on my smartphone. It's let me tell you what it is. One of the most miraculous, fantastic, wonderful things that has emerged in technology, of all the things in the internet that have ravaged our society and caused death and destruction. On the positive side of the internet, it's given us the MLB app. The MLB app is a application forged from the gods, brought down from Mount Olympus, and placed in a basket, pushed down the river, which I then recovered and found perfection on my telephone. You see, I am kind of a unicorn baseball fan. I enjoy watching all the teams and following all the teams. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Locked On had me host this show. I love following games and going back and forth between the games and trying to figure out who's going to win this. And, that's an interesting play happening there. I want to see what's happening. I bounce back and forth. The reason I say it's a unicorn is most people seem to focus mainly on their team. That's why in Locked On, you have all the individual shows, Locked On Yankees, Locked On A's, Locked On Padres, etc. And the fact of the matter is that's how most people follow baseball, but I enjoy watching the whole sport. That's what I love. And the MLB app is designed for me, where I get to follow each of the games. I can watch video of the games as it's happening, with the exception of the local teams. I'll get to that in a second. But most importantly, I can listen to the audio, the radio broadcasts for all the games. Now, as I'm at the gym, as I want to do, if I'm taking walks, if I'm getting to and from my job, if I'm taking a walk at job during one of my few breaks that I have, if I'm just at home, one thing I've grown to love to do, especially after the 60-game season of last year, is I love listening to the games, more so than watching them. I love that I can listen to when I drive, I can listen when I do yard work, and listen when I'm doing chores. I can listen to it if I'm just sitting down, because baseball seems to be perfectly designed for radio, for audio. It's a storytelling game. There are pauses and there's delays in the action that allow for conversation. That's part of the charm of even going to a baseball game, is the conversations and the fun talks you can have along the way. But the MLB app has a grid where you can listen to all the games, including the local games. Local games are not blacked out. And I can go from game to game, channel to channel. And I've been using this app for the last few years, probably the last 5 or 6 years, maybe even more than that now that I'm thinking about it, in almost a decade. And you are listening to one game and you see the scoreboard, so, they got 2 runners on. I'll switch over to that game quickly. Kind of like at some point during the season, you have a chance to flip around between all the different games. People who are big football fans love to flip between the games. They have that red zone channel, but you flip between, there's a one game on this channel, one game on that channel. You flip back and forth. And sometimes you can watch 2 or 3 games at once. This is not a new concept. Even back when we had to turn the physical damn dial, my father would have carpal tunnel syndrome, but he'd still be able to do it. And somehow we could watch the Red Sox game and the BC football game, and maybe even some of the Celtic game, all at the same time. And somehow my dad would not be able to miss a pitch or play. And the app they have there allows us to go in, listen to the games, and not only listen to the game, but whichever announcer you want to listen to. Are you a bigger fan of Joe Castiglione and everyone at EEI? Do you like John Miller on for the Giants? Do you like Sterling and Waldman in the Yankee games? Do you want to listen to Howie Rose? May he get well, please, Howie Rose, and the great crew they have for the Mets. Whomever it is, whomever you like to listen to, because that's a key part of enjoying baseball games as well, is that you listen to the announcer and they're like your friend. They're the person you want to hang out with. It's one of the reasons why we get emotionally attached to our announcers. They're not just reading a ticker. They're the companions that we have when we're watching the game. And it's a wonderful thing, especially in a day like today. I'm recording this on Sunday, where there are a bunch of games going on simultaneously. You just want to go back and forth and back and forth. Well, there is a new development with the MLB app that has made it complaint worthy. And I know we would like to call this a first world problem, and I am the first one to admit that. But they've added a wrinkle to it. And the wrinkle, I think, is an important one to bring up because it demonstrates a tone deafness that baseball has consistently had over the last bunch of years, including the concept of blackouts. Now, I've said many times, all blackouts should be lifted. There should be never a game that is blacked out, because the whole concept of the blackout is, well, you can't watch it on your device. You got to sit down in front of the television and watch it there. Well, that's not where people are watching these, are they? That's not where you're watching this. That's not where you're watching your TV shows. It's not where you're watching anything. You're watching on your devices. If you're going to black them out from your devices, you are not acknowledging the world that we live in now. Okay. What else did they do, though? I found this out. This is a new development. And keep in mind, I pay a subscription, $100 some odd a year, which is, in the end, a fantastic bargain. As I watch, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of baseball games a year, spending $100. It's certainly less than $1 per game that I watch. Well, now, if I'm using the audio app, and I change the channel, oh, the Red Sox have runners on second and third. Oh, the Yankees have a runner on second. I want to go back and forth between them. Do you know what they do now? I'll tell you what they do now. They wait 30 seconds. You have to wait 30 seconds in order to have the channel switch. And during that 30 seconds, they play an ad. Every single time. If you want to go back and forth, you got to wait 30 seconds. 30 seconds, while not an eternity, is really, really annoying if you want to go back and forth between games. Let me give you a sense of how long 30 seconds is. Starting in now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the idea. It's still going on. An ad is still going on for whatever it is. I'm not going to give them free advertising here. But while this ad, that by the way is still going on, is happening, you're going, come on, what was the next pitch? What was going to happen next? What was going to go on? By the way, we still haven't switched to the game from the point where I started. We still haven't switched to the game. We still haven't. And, okay, now we have. Now just imagine every time you want to flip back and forth, you get flipped and you have to wait. Imagine doing that with your TV set. Every time you hit last channel, you have to sit and watch a 30-second commercial. Oh, but by the way, they automatically switch you to the home feed. What if you want to listen to the announcer you want to listen to? Then you switch it over to the visiting team. You wait another 30 seconds. So as you want to see what happens, you have to wait a whole minute. Oh, but guess what? The app is really sensitive. So sometimes if you're holding it and your thumb brushes it, you may automatically click onto another game. And you have to wait the 30 seconds to get to the end of the ad to then flip it back. I had a segment the other day where I had to wait 2 minutes to switch. Now, 2 minutes is not an eternity, and I know there are far worse problems in the world to have right now. And there was a period of time we had to wait all day. Back then, we had to wait till Sports Center. I get it. But we have technology that up until, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, you can flip back and forth. Now, I know Major League Baseball has bills to pay. I know that. But if you have a subscription and you pay for a subscription, you should be able to, I don't know, flip back and forth between the channels without having to say, do I really want to do this, or do I want to wait that 30 seconds or not? That's not how people watch things. And by the way, you don't have the skip ad option you have in YouTube. And if they want to meet me halfway and say, okay, when you turn it on, you have to sit through a minute of commercials and then you can watch it, fine. Or listen to it, fine. Fine. I'm not thrilled with that, but fine. But the idea of taking away the very action of flipping back and forth between games, taking that away from baseball fans at the peak of a pennant race when 3 or 4 games are going on at the same time every day is so tone deaf just to sell a few extra ads. How many times do they have to do the wrong thing? How many times do they have to do things that make fans like me annoyed? You don't have to worry about me dropping baseball, but for everyone else, where they can flip to YouTube, they can flip to Hulu, they can flip to Netflix, they can flip to Amazon Prime. The minute they get annoyed by that 30-second delay, and it's almost a minute because if you click the wrong thing, you have to wait a minute. Do that when you're flipping around TV. Say, oh, I want to switch the channel, but I'm going to wait the 30 seconds. Let me tell you, I've been annoyed when I flip the channel and I've missed the home run, or I missed the double play, or I missed the big moment. Why? Because I'm sitting through an insurance ad. Fix it. Don't make us wait to switch between channels, because you're making one of the great joys that you have of following all these games extra annoyed. And do you know what? You don't want annoyed fans. You would think you would learn that. Annoyed fans are not happy fans. You want happy fans. This has been Locked On MLB. I'm your annoyed host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.